everyone, Day here, and welcome back to my Let's Play of the Great Ace Chronicles. When we last left off, I was in the middle of answering a question presented to me by either the judge or Von Zeeks as to, I think it's like stereoscopic imagery happening right now. So, we're just gonna hop right back into it. It's this one I want to say. Number 13. What? Me? Shift aside, my Nipponese friend, and let the real lawyers do the talking. Ah! I really felt that one.
If you think about it, it has to have been someone who was in Windy Banks when everything was going on, doesn't it?
Well, yes, that's true.
So, that narrows it down quite a lot, I think.
I have another thing. We know somebody must have touched the things on the Mr. Windybank's counter. So who was it? Ladies and gentlemen, the question now is clear. We know the items on the countertop were moved, but by whom? Are you suggesting you might know? Of course. I can tell you right now who is responsible for the almost imperceptible shift in the items on the counter. So unfortunately, I did have audio issues with my microphone. I see that it is recording currently, so hopefully it's not going to be messed up this time. And so I was saying that, because I want to be as accurate as possible with what I was thinking about at the time, is that I was thinking it would be between Sholmes, Gina, and then Tweedledee and Tweedledum, these two. But after thinking about it, it could have been Sholmes because it happened between 1 and 1:30. And between that time, he was with us. So that makes no sense. You could cross him off. And Gina, while she was already in Windy Banks, she was most likely already also heading toward the storeroom. So that would rule both of these characters out. Therefore, it has to be either Tweedledee or Tweedledum. Take that! It was the witnesses currently in the stand, the Skulkin brothers. Wait, this does not agree with what the brothers said in testimony before. They said they do not even have time to buy dukes from Lucy Lockets. My phrase book says dukes is meaning hands, and Lucy Lockets is meaning pockets. He has a good phrase book. Because I promise you, if I was to try to look up these things, I probably wouldn't even find Lucy Lockets for one. I don't think. Never even heard of that phrase until in this trial. Dukes, okay, I know. Put up your dukes. I've heard that before. But is this another lie? But also dukes is like, isn't that like a hierarchy too? Like a positioning? So I feel like it could have went a different route there too. Is this what you are saying? Yes, I'm afraid so. No, hold on there a minute. You can't be sure of that.
I quite agree. The accused is a common pick purse after all. It's perfectly possible that she went through the things on the desk to see what she might steal.
I think that's unlikely. And why exactly? As you can see from this photographic print, the defendant was pointing a gun at the victim. I would like to say she's not pointing it at him. It's kind of pointed towards the ceiling, but I digress. It would seem, as my learned friend indicated, that she was coercing Mr. Windybank to open the storeroom door. In other words, Miss Lestrade's interests lay within the storeroom, not in the main shop, giving her no reason to touch anything on the counter. All of which points to one thing. The Skulkin brothers have omitted key facts in their testimony.
But the accused is a pick purse, common gutter trash. Why look any further for the wrongdoer here?
Because the Skulkin brothers are thieves, madame. No better, in fact, worse than a pick purse. I feel like, I don't know, her prejudices is very, very potent and within her. I believe that these brothers were looking for something on the victim's counter that night. Why would he seem very upset? Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, if you would condemn the defendant on the grounds that she's a pickpocket, would it not at least be right and proper to thoroughly scrutinize testimony given against her by two thieves?
Well said.
I still would not want this guy doing surgery on me. Like, at all.
I, for one, would like to hear more from that shady pair.
Seriously, Sarah, you use your forehead. Oh my gosh, that is awesome. That was super awesome. Can you all see now? I think you'll find stereoscopes aren't playthings. You've seen their extraordinary potential firsthand. Of course he's gonna vote differently at this point. Wholeheartedly agree. I forgot what her voice was like that they gave her officially.
Wholeheartedly agree. Stop. Must purchase after trial. Stop. Will return home via Regent Street. Stop.
So I guess she's getting herself some of those cool swanky glasses he has on his face, yeah.
Well, it would seem this trial has yet to run its course. The ladies and gentlemen of the jury have declared their inclinations via the mighty scales of justice. I hereby call this summation examination to conclusion with the balance altered in the defendant's favor. 2 lean to guilty, 4 lean to not guilty. Accordingly, the jury is without consensus. And I order this trial to continue.
Yay! Well done! Oh, by the way,
What?
you should hold on to this, Bruno. You never know when it might come in useful.
Twice in one trial will be unusual. Surely. But alright, we do have that other set of cameras we haven't looked into yet. So there is more room to utilizing this thing. And I feel like this is proof that we will be going over those other photographs. I kind of was on the wrong path. Stereoscopes, you have to have 2 of the same, like similar imagery. So therefore kind of like the same exact side-by-side type thing, but yeah. A photo device that allows anybody to enjoy seeing things in 3 dimensions simply by looking through the eyepieces.
Lord Von Zeeks,
I think I also mentioned, I hope I'm not going over things I've already mentioned previously, but like, how was I doing it? I don't know, I had it open in such a way that I was able to, just flicking it like this, you could see the items on the desk have moved. I was like, man, I wish I had did that earlier.
you will instruct the witnesses that the court demands additional testimony from them.
He's gonna definitely need a drink dealing with these guys.
I'm sure it won't spoil the bouquet to do so, my lord.
I don't know, it might spoil the day. Maybe. I've won myself another chance to probe that pair about their activities that night at least. And I won't stop probing them until I've proven that Gina is innocent. Was her name Gina in the original? Or did they change her name? I'm pretty sure Ryunosuke's name has always been Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I know they changed Holmes, Shomes, whichever. Okay, we'll not override this slot. No. Let's not override that. I'd rather not do that. Okay. Alright. I almost messed up. Like, if anything goes wrong with this, I need to be able to restart. Like how I already had to do so in the first place.
Order, please. Let us resume proceedings. Witnesses, you will now retake the stand.
Waluigi.
Wario!
I presume you heard the defense counsel's summation examination.
Oh, yeah, Governor. I did, Gov. I did. Mr. and Mr. Skulkin. Court, blimey! This is going to be hard work. Earlier in this trial, you gave the following testimony about your actions after you entered Windybanks. Well, it was bedlam soon as, weren't it? It was, Nash. It was. Didn't even have time to pull me dukes out me Lucy Lockets. Lucy Lockett. However, that was a lie. You brothers. Core, blimey! On the night in question, you rifled through the items on the victim's counter. We never done nothing of the sort. How did you figure that out?
You will now give formal testimony once again. You will tell the court precisely what happened on the night in question, and this time, you will tell the truth.
Each lie that passes through your lips serves to increase the severity of your punishment. And that, gentlemen, may deal a crushing blow to your chances of ever seeing the light of day again. I would not mess around with Sir Von Reaper of the Bailey. Let's not mess around with this guy. A thought worth pondering, perhaps. Say no more, good. We hear ya. We'll blab or speak. Or squeak. We'll peach. I don't know what the purple wearing outfit guy is talking about. Illegal entry, the whole truth. Alright, we did knock a few things over. We were rifling for nothing. It was when we heard the gunshot, say? Made us both jump and all that stuff went flying. Lummy, it did get me a fright. We was thinking the shoe to come out the door and get us next. We stuck everything back where we found it and scarpered. Traded to him in the black. We couldn't have shot the pawnbroker, say? We never even had a chance, did we?
So you admit to the defense's accusation? You did indeed ransack Mr. Windybank's countertop on the night in question.
Not ransack, governor. No. That's right, Nash. That's right. It's more like we tidied up. Yeah. You are not Mousehold. Like, come on. Tidied up. Sorry. By their own admission, these brothers entered the pawnbrokery under dubious circumstances. However, they panicked and fled on hearing the gunshot, having first made good their mess. The way you say, we hardly sound like roughs at all. You're not really. Guys are kinda worse than McGilded. We don't, Nash, we don't. Can't you make us sound a bit more cutthroat? You're not, though. Like, McGilded, like I said, McGilded was more scary than you two, you lot. You remind me of the dudes from 101 Dalmatians. Horace and, Jasper and, what's the other guy's name, Horace? Horace and Jasper? It can't just be coincidence that these men showed up at Windybanks that night. No, they probably are working for someone, potentially a egg Latin fellow in white. There's more to their testimony than meets the eye. I'm sure of it. Wait, I don't remember how Gina got that jacket. Wasn't the dude wearing it? Alright, we did knock a few things over, but we went rifling for nothing. It was when we heard the gunshot, say, made us both jump and all that stuff went flying. Hey, that's not what I meant to do. I meant to press this. I always press A, which is why it always proceeds forward. It's so hard for me to remember to press the L button. If that's the case, then why didn't you testify to that effect in the first place? Well, you know, we ain't exactly squeaky clean there, are we? We ain't, Nash, we ain't. If we admitted something like that, people would think we was up to no good. Well said, Rango Mio China. We'd only land ourselves in even more trouble. And, in fact, now, as a result of lying in your previous testimony, that's exactly what you've done, landing yourselves in even more trouble. Ah, well, that's rotten luck. Says the rotten apple eater. Witnesses, explain your actions to the court. Why did you ransack the victim's counter? We never ransacked nothing. Right, Nash, right. More like we tidied the place up. He looked down for a second, then looked up with intensity. Like, I cannot do what he does, but I love it. This guy is serious business. Oh, sorry. It was when we heard the gunshot say made us both jump, and all that stuff went flying. I keep telling her. Sorry. So what you're saying is, the sound of the gunshot shocked you so much, you knocked all those things off the counter?
Well, it shocked one of us that much, yeah. This bag of nerves needs to learn to keep his shirt on.
Look, it was loud, alright? Blimey, me dead granny would have woken up with that bang.
Big brother screamed like a blooming baby and fell over on the counter. He knocked over a load of books, a candlestick, and some school whatnot.
I got tangled in some marionette. What knocked over a picture frame? What knocked them scales on the floor? You've really mastered working quietly then. I like how they remember everything that was on that counter. What a record. Me granny would have been scared back into a grave at a clutter like that. So in short, the gunshot took you by surprise.
And then some. I mean, it was quiet as a mouse, and then all of a sudden, bam!
How can you watch this animation and not at least smile? What is he doing? Oh my gosh. Grayson. Or Gregson. Inspector Gregson, what do you have to add?
Like I keep saying, I don't appreciate being lumped in with these scoundrels.
No, something to add about their testimony? You seemed to react just now at what Mr. Skulkin said. Did it make you think of something?
It's probably nothing, of course. I wouldn't even bother to mention it only. Well, the fact is, cases don't get solved if you ignore the little details.
How about you just tell us what's on your mind?
As you know, we brought these fellows into the yard for questioning last night. And the statement they gave then told a slightly different story to what they're saying now. Oh, did it? You claim you heard the victim shout something out before the gunshot.
Might have, Gov, might have. Does ring a bell now that you mention it.
Granted, it's only a minor detail, but still. I can't help feeling like perhaps you've been a bit sloppy with your testimony here, eh, fellas? If I discover the witness's testimony has been any more sloppy than it has hitherto proven to be, I shall be forced to bring the very harshest punishment to bear against them. Easy.
I'll get it right this time. Get it right. Just tell the truth.
That's it, yuppers all coming back to me now. Me old noggin knows exactly what me old noggin needs. Then speak!
Fonzix is so fed up.
Supplement your testimony with whatever details have miraculously returned to your questionable mind, sirs.
Miraculously. Oh my gosh. You're right, you all Guff. They could barely keep their own story straight, lies and all.
Hold it!
So in fact, you heard the voice and the gunshot almost simultaneously? We did, Guff, we did.
Although I suppose if you're being honest, we heard a kind of wavering voice before the yell and all.
If you don't want to get shot, give me that gun. Bam! Kind of thing. A career in acting tragically missed. And where were the voices coming from? Could you tell? Of course we could. From the other side of that door behind the counter it was. From the storeroom where the victim was found dead. And the voice you heard, it was that of the victim, Mr. Windybank. On me granny's life. Of course it was.
On his granny's life, of course it was.
So, that would mean that you both knew Mr. Windybank and the sound of his voice.
Hey, so that would mean what?
What? Nash, what? Any ideas?
Yes, Consul, indeed it would.
Nah.
We didn't know the gazer.
How am I supposed to know when that bloke and all the fancy cobblers giving me a Stephen eye? Oh my gosh, poor Vonzi. He did not come back for this horrible dribble of a trial.
If you value your lives, you will ensure your testimony is accurate and true.
Oh, on me granny's life it is.
On his granny's life it must be.
Are they real brothers or not? Wouldn't his grandma be his grandma too? It's a good job his granny's dead. And how do you know this, Ryunosuke? We don't really know anything about these dudes.
To summarize then, immediately after hearing the voice of the victim, you then heard the gunshot, causing you to stumble and upset the items on the counter, scattering them over the shop floor.
And make it sound like we're clumsy.
Don't forget we tore it up after like good little boys, anyway, the way I say it. The bloke what owned the place was owning a gun, so he should have just fired instead of yelling at the girl.
This is obviously... He was not holding a gun, right? So at this point, I'm going to present this. Because as you can see, his hands are empty, and he's not holding any gun. You're saying that on the night in question, the victim, Mr. Windybank, was wielding a gun. Is that correct?
That's it, Gov. You got the picture.
Yes, Nash, yes. No question. And yet, the photographic evidence from the time of the incident clearly shows that Mr. Windybank was not in possession of a firearm of any description.
You surprise me.
In a good way or a bad way?
Does the defense really intend to highlight evidence that compromises the position of the accused even more?
Ah!
Furthermore, the defense has failed to establish that the photographic print presented was taken a suitably short time prior to the victim's death. Your chronology is severely lacking, Consul.
Yeah! That's right. Too right, Nash, too right. The old geezer couldn't have been to the tables on the good. Hardly likely.
No, I'm afraid this won't stand as conclusive evidence.
Ah!
Continue with the cross-examination, Consul. And heed my earlier warning, witnesses.
A skulkin's never skulkin. I don't know. Skulkin's never skulkin.
The bloke what owned the place was holding a gun.
Yeah. So then at this point, I presented this one. Because in this photograph, you can see his hands are still empty. There is no gun, yada yada. And then after this, we will be back on track to where I was before catching a blunder. So you're saying that on the night in question, the victim, Mr. Windybank, was wielding a gun. Is that correct?
That's it, Gov. You got the picture.
Yes, Nash. Yes. No question. And yet, photographic evidence obtained immediately after the incident clearly shows that Mr. Windybank was not holding a firearm of any description. Eh? You what?
Gordon Bennett, that ain't right.
There can be no question that the victim's revolver was used in the incident. I would remind the court that Mr. Windybank's gun was found at the scene. I mean, yeah, but it goes against the testimony that these two gentlemen are trying to tell.
Not only was it identified as the murder weapon, but it was found in the accused's hand.
Not really sure that this helps them, though.
Yeah, that mole Tula used the victim's own gun to finish him off. Give me that gun! Bam!
They keep changing their testimony. Kind of thing.
Hold it!
Stay exactly where you are. Right there.
Oh,
If the crime had taken place as you've so colorfully described in your testimony, it would give rise to an undeniable and significant inconsistency in the final moments you just acted out.
Goodness! Are you sure, Consul?
You intrigue me, my land friend, but let's see some evidence to support your claim. Where is the proof that demonstrates this inconsistency in the witness's portrayal of the victim's final moments? It's the fact that he got shot from the back, which means that we're going to need this autopsy report. According to their testimony, the witnesses claim to have heard a shout of, "Give me that gun," followed by the gunshot.
Indeed, with the two events happening almost simultaneously, or so we've been led to believe.
Yes, that's right. Now, if that testimony is true, it would mean that at the moment of death, the victim and his attacker would have been facing each other. However, in the autopsy report, it clearly states that the victim died instantly after being shot from behind. Ah! So, as I stated before, there is an undeniable inconsistency in your testimony, Mr. and Mr. Skulkin. Nyaga! But it's the God-honest truth.
It is, Nash, it is. When he was shot that night,
the shopkeeper had a gun in his head. We saw it with our own bleeding eyes. Considering how they're not giving this up, it kind of rings like maybe they saw something. Did I hear you right just now? You actually saw Mr. Windybank holding a gun. Something like that might have slipped out. Ladies and gentlemen, you have all just heard the admission by these two witnesses that on the night in question, they actually saw, with their own eyes, the victim wielding a gun, which can only mean that despite their testimony to the contrary, the Skulkin brothers must have encountered the victim in person.
Nash,
Yeah!
Order! 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 Witnesses, explain yourselves at once!
Well, the thing is, we're supposed to, It would seem that my previous warning fell on deaf ears. I've made it quite clear that false witness will be the death Reaper of the Bailey, and you're playing games with your lives right now, sirs.
Am I to understand that you replaced the untruths of your original testimony with renewed lies?
Oh, Judge, that was a great sentence. Why did I skip it so fast? Ever so sorry, Governor. Truth is, say,
Cut it out, Nash, cut it out. Every blab now. You know what it'll do to us.
He? Who are they talking about? Oh. See, I thought they were talking about Lord Von Zeeks. But if you're blind now, the only one I can think of is the Easter Bunny dude. Egbert Benedict dude. Yeah. Him. Is he still in our, Yeah, he is still here. Interesting. It's probably him. Let me make your position here perfectly clear. You will talk. There is no other option available to you. Ah! Bruv, come on, the game's up.
I didn't have our gods forgot us.
Ooh, that bad. Ooh, it's either you deal with whoever you're talking about or go to the surgeon in the juror stand. I think you'll come out the same either way. In case it hasn't quite sunk in yet, no matter how hard you try to hide it, the truth will come out. Ugh.
On the night of question, it is now apparent that you brothers met face to face with the victim. I demand that you testify again against to explain the precise circumstances under which this meeting took place.
Well...
Do we have to?
On pain of death. Oh my gosh, Von Zeeks. He is not messing around with these two at all. I suggest you make yourselves fully aware that this is your very last chance to tell the truth. Von Zeeks has a very good character arc too. Encounter with the victim. Alright, so we just got inside the guff and heaved a sigh of relief when the gazer showed his mug.
Give me that gun, he bellowed. And then he flew at us like he was possessed. I thought we'd had it.
But no, Gazer, the bloke was strong as an ox. He chucked me over the counter. Okay.
I pulled me gun on him, and then he legged it through the door into the back room.
Where does Gina come into play with this whole testimony? Interesting. Like I said, this part is all new original content right here. I don't know what's going on. I have to think about this. We never had nothing to do with killing them. That's all what happened, I swear. So you know, telling us that moments before the victim was killed in the storeroom, you in fact encountered him in the main part of the shop.
Well, yeah. Sorry. Well, we find ourselves at an interesting juncture. This change matters considerably. But honest, Governor, this time.
This time, Nash, this time. We ain't got nothing more to hide.
Very well. Counsel for the defense, you may proceed with your cross-examination.
Yes, my lord.
This is it. The moment I've been waiting for.
He's leaning so far forward, wide-eyed. Like, that would scare me if I was them. Encounter with the victim. Alright, so we just got inside the guff and heaved a sigh of relief when the geezer showed his mug.
Hey, give me that gun, he bellowed, and it flew at us like he was possessed. I thought we'd had it.
I might have to press some comments.
Hold it!
So we're just gonna go with this first. When you say geezer, I presume you mean the victim and proprietor of the shop, Mr. Windybank. Who else? Sorry, I mean, that's right. Interesting phrasing. Why did he change what he was getting ready to say? What did it matter? Interesting.
We was keeping a close eye on the entrance of the gaff, obviously. But we never thought Noah was going to come out of that back room like that.
Oh, he was... Oh. Wait, what? No, it doesn't make sense. At first I was like, oh, okay, so he met Gina in the storeroom, but... No. Now this is a humongous inconsistency. The back room being the pawnbrokery storeroom? Yeah, that must be where it popped up from. Only place it could have been. Only place he could have been. Unless there's a secret room or something. So it would seem the victim was already in the storeroom when these brothers entered the premises. Did they analyze the bullet? Like, could he have been shot with their gun and then... No, that doesn't make sense because of when Sholmes was shot. Right. I keep having to remind myself of that.
Which means Jenny must have been in there at that point as well.
There's just still some loose ends. But that doesn't make sense. Does it? No! I'm over here trying to figure this out myself. It just became an even more colossally confusing situation. If Gina had threatened Mr. Windybank into the storeroom, with her at gunpoint, then why would he have emerged from the same room all alone when the brothers arrived? And then apparently he had a gun.
Oh, I don't know.
Did you see the accused at that time? What? That monster? Couldn't tell you.
No way, Copper. We had bigger fish to fry then. I mean, the old geezer just lost it. Give me that gun, he bellowed, and he flew at us like he was possessed. I thought we'd had it.
I like how they have red faces because it's like trying to keep up with all their lies is insane. You mentioned that Mr. Windybank shouted those words in your previous testimony too. However, you claimed that you heard him yelling them on the other side of the storeroom door.
Oh, did we?
But the truth is, he was shouting those words at you, wasn't he?
Well, yeah.
Was the victim, Mr. Windybank, wielding a gun at the time?
Was he ever? Blimey lummy! A great ugly barrel he had, pointing straight at me frontispiece.
So what you're saying is, you definitely saw Mr. Windybank with the gun at that time, is that right?
It is, Gov, it is. Spot on.
Then all of a sudden he came at us, he did.
It was bellum. Didn't know who was going for who.
You were clearly all going for each other. He was so invested in what was going on. He lost track of that. He was part of the action too. How?
Like, nah, sure, we thought we'd added. I mean, for no geezer, the bloke was strong as an ox. He chucked me over the counter.
He chucked you over the counter? Is that when everything got knocked over then? Yes, I noted that you mentioned the counter in your previous testimony too.
Well, yeah, of course we did.
You knocked over a load of books, a candlestick, and some skull, whatnot. Stuff.
I got tangled to some marionette. What knocked over a picture frame? What knocked out them scales on the floor?
So this happened between 1 and 1:30. Right? That's the only way this works. The stereoscope proves that the items were moved between the timestamps. So in fact, it wasn't the sound of the gunshot that shocked you and made you knock those things off the counter.
Well, big bruv, he went flying over that counter like a gunshot, I could tell you. Then the old geezer pinned him. He did, Ash, he did. If you hadn't been there, the bloke would have flattened me like a blooming pancake in seconds.
A blooming pancake? At the time in question, the alarm was raised at the local police station via a secret cable from the pawnbroker. Right. So I'm guessing that was Mr. Windybank's doing. Because I was wondering how the police got there. There is a button under the counter used to activate it, which was presumably pressed by the victim. That's right. When the brothers fled the scene and back onto the street, they ran straight into the arriving police, didn't they?
Oh, Mr. Windybank did everything he could to protect his shop.
I pulled my gun on him and then he legged it through that door into the back room.
Were you intending to shoot Mr. Windybank?
No. Never. I was just,
Looking
out for me, bruv. Oh, looking out for me, bruv, or not. He was being flighted, don't forget.
By a man whose shop was being burgled, yes. And then the man fled into the storeroom when you pointed your gun at him. Is that it?
Yeah, that's it. He showed me a word, then ran off through that door and shut himself in.
Why are you still sweating? I can't trust any of the words these guys are saying. There's something about that last remark. Something that doesn't quite ring true. He shoved me away, then ran off through that door and shut himself in.
I wonder why Mr. Windybank ran away into the storeroom.
What?
Well, according to what everyone's saying, Jenny was in there waiting for him with a gun.
Ah. Yes, that's right. Interesting. Gina allegedly used Mr. Windybank's gun to threaten him, force him to open the storeroom door. In which case, how did the gun end up in Mr. Windybank's hands again? She was already unconscious, right? Because she was unconscious when we found her. I freaking don't.
I have no idea, but that is strange, isn't it?
This little inconsistency could be significant. Should make a mental note of it.
Look, the point is, me and me bro here.
That's right, Nash. That's right. Me and me brother. He never had nothing to do with killing them. That's all what happened. I swear. Do I believe that they killed this guy? Not really. So that's all these brothers are willing to reveal this time, is it?
They're still hiding something, don't you think?
Yes, I'm sure of it. And not just a minor detail either. It was
Almost certainly because of these two that poor Mr. Windybank. Well, can't let them get away with it, Runo.
I know. I get the feeling there's even less evidence at my disposal this time to prove that they did it.
You come so far. Now it's time to finish them off.
Well, I'll do my best. Is this really it? Like, I know we did like a lot of legwork and investigation, but if they really did it, this would be like the shortest trial we've had yet. You say you had nothing to do with it?
Nothing at all.
Nothing, Gov, nothing. You guys that went and shut himself into the back room, didn't they?
Locked it was from the inside.
You know it was, because we tried to open it.
But it's a decent door that one good and strong wouldn't budge an inch. So in the end, the situation remains unchanged. Inside the storeroom with the pawnbroker, there was only one other person. The sole person who could possibly have shot the victim, the accused, Miss Gina Lestrade.
I don't know, it still just kind of comes back to what I was thinking before. Like, it was planted somehow. Like, it shot him, and they could have shot him through the window, but how would the gun have ended up in Gina's hand? It's like, I feel like I'm missing something.
It would indeed appear so. What say you to that, Consul?
I don't know. Was there anyone else apart from Gina who could have possibly shot Mr. Windybank? Besides the two dudes? I mean, shot from the back. There's no way he killed himself. Well, also there is the fact that the bullet hole was on an upward trajectory, right? Yeah, on a gently rising diagonal trajectory. Gently rising. That means something. What does it mean, though? It's like maybe it ricocheted off of something and hit him? Now that I'm probably looking to. There is no one else there could have been. I mean, there has to have been. I don't believe Gina did it, right? Mr. and Mr. Skulkin.
Eh? What?
What's that look for? From the moment you admitted that you'd encountered the victim face to face that night, the course of this trial changed completely.
It did?
What is your point, my learned friend? The question we must answer is, who could have shot Mr. Windybank? Could I stand the way Ryunosuke's standing? Could I possibly stand there confidently with Von Zeke's asking me questions? I don't think so. And it is the belief of the defense that the defendant is not the only possible answer at all. That create.
You have my attention. In that case, let us return to this plan of the premises. The victim was killed in the storeroom, which was locked from the inside. Those are the facts. So pray, what other possible answer to the question of who shot the man could there be? counsel. You must now provide answers to the court in respect of 2 conundrums.
2, my lord? Twice as many chances to be right, maybe.
Indeed. Namely, from what location did the culprit shoot the victim? And furthermore, where was the victim at the time?
I don't know. What I'm thinking kind of makes 0 sense. But the thing is, with the blood, we never fully analyzed the blood, right? Let me see something. We said it was his blood because the blood stain was there, right? But what if it's not his blood? No, I guess that doesn't make sense. I was thinking if there was a way that this could be where he was shot. But how does that correlate to Sholmes? That's what I'm thinking. Like, I don't know. I feel like there's stuff I don't fully know. Where was the victim at the time, too? Understood, my lord.
Are you alright, Runo?
I'm not entirely sure. There's one thing I am sure about. If I can prove that there's a credible new alternative to what happened, it would change Gina's prospects hugely. I'm saving. I don't normally save like this. Like, I'm just normally like forward moving or whatever. But I really don't have full confidence in this route at all. Let's see what happens. So now, time for some clarity. Show the court on this plan the answers to the questions posed by his lordship. I would do my best. If you believe someone else could have killed the victim, indicate from where that person could have fired the gun.
Take that!
The defense believes that the culprit could have shot the victim from this location here. And in answer to the second question, assuming the culprit fired from the location indicated, where was the victim at the time?
Take that!
The culprit shot the victim from outside the storeroom. Continue. Like, this is what I was thinking the whole time. Do I think it's 100% accurate? That's what I don't know, but it is a possibility. And it was a possibility that has always rang around in my head ever since we saw that dang door hole. It's either that because the key was in Gina's pocket and Gina was holding the gun. Those are still two inconsistencies that I cannot figure out how it all will weave and tie into each other. Mr. Windybank died instantly from a bullet wound in his back. Looking at the stain of blood on the storeroom floor, it doesn't appear that the body was moved after death, which tells us that he was almost certainly shot while he was in the storeroom. However, the crucial point is, where was the shooter when the fatal bullet was fired?
So you are adamant that the shot was fired from outside the storeroom?
Well, according to the Skulkin brothers' earlier testimony, they tried to enter the storeroom.
I pulled me gun on him and then he legged it through the door into the back room.
If Mr. Windybank ran away through the door, we have to assume that the door was open at the time.
Ah!
It was at precisely that moment when the victim was fleeing for his life that these brothers had the perfect opportunity to shoot the man in the back once he was inside the storeroom. Nah, girl! Even Von Zeke seems like he wasn't even thinking of a potential direction of this that this took in this direction.
Come to think of it, do you remember what the prosecutor said at the start of the trial?
What, Von Zeke's? Moving on to the findings of Scotland Yard's coroner. His report states that the bullet entered the body on a rising diagonal trajectory. It means the victim was likely shot by someone significantly shorter in height than himself. Interesting.
Oh man, shot while he was running as fast as he could to safety.
Ah, of course! He would have been leaning forward as he was running away. So even if the bullet was fired horizontally, it would still have entered his body on an upward trajectory. So it's basically the knife situation again. Did they even think about that? Interesting. Yeah, I didn't even think about that at all.
So the culprit isn't necessarily someone shorter than Mr. Windybank.
Objection!
I'm sure my learned friend can't have forgot. As the storeroom door was found closed and locked from the inside, claimed the victim was shot as he fled into the room. Do you also claim his corpse was dexterous enough to turn the key in the lock? No, but what if someone else locked the door? Yes, there is someone else who could have locked the door to the storeroom. Is that so?
Very well then, Consul. Present your hypothesis to the court. In the scenario just described, the defense's assertion is that the victim was shot from outside the storeroom. In which case, who shot and locked the storeroom door from the inside?
It would have to be her, right?
Take that!
Obviously, the person who locked the door was the only other person inside the storeroom at the time. The defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade.
Objection!
I don't know where this is going, but
That's absurd.
you're suggesting that the accused deliberately engineered the sealed room. For what possible reason? Such actions would only serve to tighten a noose around her neck.
I am inclined to agree, I must say. Well, Consul?
Ah, yes, that's the tricky one, that, isn't it?
Have big notions have no place in my courtroom, Consul. Remember that, please.
But of course Jenny would have locked the door. It almost goes without saying, doesn't it?
It does?
Well, if I was Jenny in that situation, I know I would have locked the door as quickly as I could. I mean, those two burglars had just fired a gun in her direction, hadn't they?
Oh yes, obviously. Before the two brothers arrived, Miss Lestrade and Mr. Windybank were in the storeroom together. Now, I don't know what went on between them at that time, but at some point, Mr. Windybank must have heard the intruders breaking into his shop and left the storeroom. Intruders, eh? That's us, bruv. If your theory is correct, that would leave the accused alone in the storeroom. Yes, it would. Then probably only moments later, the victim fled back through the storeroom door, hoping to escape danger. Hit in the back by the bullet, Mr. Windybank fell to the floor where he was, just inside the storeroom. And what we have to ask ourselves now is, what would the defendant have done in that moment? I see where you're going with this. Probably something he thought about during the heat of the moment. Outside the storeroom was a terrifying killer who had just murdered Mr. Windybank. As soon as that thought struck Miss Lestrade, she slammed the door shut and locked it, in order to save her own life.
Hold it!
But I mean, we ain't the ones who done it. We ain't good, we ain't. You gotta believe us, I mean, come on. We never shoot no one. That's blatantly untrue. I know for a fact that you would, because before my own eyes, you shot Mr. Herlock Sholmes. There is only one logical conclusion here. Mr. and Mr. Skulkin, you brothers had every opportunity to have been the true perpetrators of Mr. Windybank's murder. Ah, yeah, I still think that little door, what would you call that? That little door hinge? I feel like that's gonna take place in. I should have known it was those three brothers. They look as shaded as a dense forest.
That was amazing, Runa. Other members of the jury seem to be firmly on your side now.
I know, first time ever, and probably the last. Pessimism.
Well, I think you've done it. Surely they'll have to give a verdict of not.
An admirable effort, my learned friend. What's this now? He's laughing? Von Zieks is laughing?
You find the situation amusing, Lord Von Zieks. I myself find the defense's argument most persuasive.
I dare say. Such chicanery is the bread and butter of the street performers in your provincial eastern nation. But such blatantly malicious conjuring tricks amount to nothing more than inexcusable pettifoggery here. What? The hypothesis you put forward so ostensibly, credibly cannot and will not stand. Because, you see, it contains a fatal flaw. A fatal flaw? The key. Right, no, I guess not the key. Do you mean to tell me that you're unaware of your logic's failing? Oh, I say, Lord Von Zieks. She probably ended up with the gun in her hand after Wendy Banks died. And then she held onto it and fainted?
I say, Lord Von Zieks, might be an idea to explain this bally conjuring trick or whatever it is to the troops on the ground,
The fatal flaw in my learned friend's argument is really very simple to understand. Even a caveman could do it. Assuming you're not too dim-witted to count bullets.
By George, count bullets!
Sir, you should be the main one.
How dare. You noticed then.
Oh, Iris! You were just gonna run with this even though that was also something that was bouncing around in my head. I'm like, we still will have to explain that. Huh? What's everyone talking about? Consul. Yes, sir! Tell the court, how many bullets were found at the scene of the crime? Two bullets. Correct. The first, that which hit the victim in the back, ending his life. And the second, that which struck the detective, Mr. Herlock Sholmes, on his arrival at the scene.
Indeed. The defense presented a picture showing the damage caused by the second bullet earlier in the proceedings.
I still want to say that the order of the bullet holes and stuff may be out of order. Maybe. I really have to wrap this one up. I'm getting too invested.
The bullet which injured Mr. Sholmes appears to have passed through his body to strike the calendar.
Your lordship's understanding is correct. Furthermore, we know there are two firearms involved in the incident. The revolver belonging to the victim, Mr. Windybank, and the Skulkin brothers' revolver. The evidence shows that a single bullet was fired from each gun.
Yes, indeed it does! A single bullet from each!
And with that, we shall wrap this episode up. So yeah, now we're gonna have to play Ring Around the Rosie, Bullet Edition. The thing is, Gina's holding on to the gun. That's where it's gonna get a little dicey. Like, cause you could always just say that, okay, they shot him with his gun and threw it into the storeroom. But that would not make any sense. Because then how on earth would Gina have gotten hold of it, right? So that's something to think about, something that I will have to consider, and we most likely will have answered within the next episode. So anyways, thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and until next time, I hope you all have a great and wonderful day. Thanks so much for sticking around. Bye.